Hi, welcome again to Ancient Tales for Today. 古今今谈, and this is lesson number 28, 第28课. So with that, let's remember where we've come from. Two brothers made peace. Finally, the two brothers are back together. 他们已经和好. They live and actually become two different countries. But they live peacefully, at least for a while. At least for a while. Later on, maybe a little bit difficult, but we'll get those stories later. For now, we're going to look at lesson 28. So stay by, we have more interesting stories to tell.
Remembering the dream. When Jacob was running away in fear from his brother Esau, he had a dream that encouraged him. The place where he had seen in his dream a stairway to heaven, Jacob had called Bethel, the house of God. His dream had encouraged him as he felt lost and alone, fearing death from his brother and facing an uncertain future. Because of trouble with the local people, Jacob had to run away again. This time he has a large family with him. They go back to Bethel. I am sure it had a special meaning for Jacob to be back there again. It was so encouraging for Jacob as he remembered the dream and the promise that God had made to him that he would be protected. As he thought of all that had happened, I am sure he was convinced that the promise had been kept and he had been well looked after despite all the problems he had faced. The dream had become real in Jacob's life. We also need to remember to live the dream and not worry about all the problems of life. We need to remember that God can take care of us too, if we ask. Jacob took the time to renew his commitment to God, getting rid of all the idols that some of his family had collected. At the same time, the promise to Jacob was renewed also. He would have many descendants and inherit the land. How easy it is to forget and fail to live as we know we should. We forget how we have been protected, how we have been cared for, and take it for granted. Whatever we believe in, we can be sure that as we trust in the ways of heaven, we will also do what is good and right. We need to remember such positive dreams.
Okay, remembering the dream. Now, thinking about all the story that we've been through, when Jacob was running away in fear from his brother Esau, he had a dream that encouraged him. Remember, this is quite a few stories ago. His brother, his older brother, trying to kill him. He's running away, 他是逃命, okay? And he had a dream. Remember, he had, what kind of pillow did he have? A nice soft pillow, 他的枕头是不是很柔软的? No, it was a rock, 一块石头, okay? But the dream he had was very encouraging. He had a dream that encouraged him. The place where he had seen his dream of a stairway to heaven. Remember the dream? He saw a stairway, 楼梯到上天. Okay, this is a stairway, 楼梯 up to heaven, okay? Jacob had called Bethel. That's the name of the place. Bethel, and you could say the house of God, 上帝的殿, 上帝的殿, okay? The house of God. Okay, so we've got Jacob now. He's already met his brother, and now he is on his way back home. And he goes to this place where he had the dream. It was Bethel, the house of God. His dream had encouraged him. Okay, the dream 就鼓励他 as he felt, because, in this case, as mean being because he felt lost. Okay, that means he was lost. He didn't have anywhere to count or call home. And he was facing, he was alone, 很孤独, alone. Lost meaning that he didn't know where he was. That's really true. He didn't know anything about his future. He was really lost. And 孤独. He was fearing death, 他是害怕什么? 死亡. From his brother, that his brother would kill him. And he was facing, what can we say? Uncertain future. 前途茫茫. Uncertain future. 前途茫茫. Okay? Because of the trouble of the local people, Jacob had to run away again. This time, he has a large family with him. Now, we are obviously not telling all the details of the story. 这些故事呢，有很多细节，因此呢，最好你是自己拿这个古经，基督教的圣经，那你应该是一个故事一个故事来看 because the details 这个细节是很多 but because after 20 years he has 2 wives. Well, I don't know how you want to figure, maybe 4 wives, 2 wives, and the wives, servant girls, also sort of became his wife. Okay? And now he is facing trouble with the family. So he has to run away again. 还是逃跑. But this time, okay, he has a large family with him. He has children. How many children? 12 sons. 12 sons. And he has sheep, 绵羊, and goats, 山羊, and cattle, 牛, and 骆驼, camels, and donkeys, 驴子. So he has a big family. Moving, 搬家不是那么简单的事情. And he has to run away again. Going on. They go back to Bethel. So now they're on their way back home. Okay, and they come to Bethel. Remember? The house of God. This is where he had the dream. I'm sure it had a special meaning for Jacob. Okay? 肯定对雅各是特别有意义的. I am sure that it had special meaning for Jacob to be back there again. 又是回到这个地方. Why? Because he is or has an opportunity to remember the dream. It was so encouraging for Jacob as he remembered the dream. 非常 得到鼓励 ，OK？ As he remembered, 因为他 what? Remembered the dream and the promise, 神的承诺，上帝的承诺 that he made to him， 对他来说的这个承诺 ，and that he would be protected， 上帝会保护他。And the more he thought about it, imagine everybody was asleep, but he was awake, thinking and thinking about it. And as he thought about all that had happened, 他所发生的所有的事情 and as he was thinking, 想一想，默想 I am sure, 我肯定 he was convinced, 他很确信的 that the promise had been kept, 上帝的这个承诺就成真了，这个成真了 and that he had been well looked after. Now it's interesting that we use the word looked after means 照顾 God has 照顾他，保护他 despite 不管他发生了多少问题，上帝还是照顾他，祝福他，保护他 and we will come back in just a minute. Okay, now we have more light on our path. Today, we are looking at Psalms 55:22. Psalms 55:22.
今天的这个经文是在诗篇的55篇22节。55篇22节说
Here's what it says: Cast your cares upon the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous fall.
这节经文说，你要把你的重担卸给耶和华，他必抚养你，他永不叫义人动摇。
Okay, this is very interesting because my wife loves this verse.
对
And she often thinks about this verse. This is a promise. Because I don't know, is this really true? Women worry more than men? Is that true?
对，我相信是的。他艾师母哈，他是常常记得这个经文，然后他有重担有那个担心的时候，他马上会想到我要把这个重担交给上帝。
Okay, I have a question for you. Who worries more in your family, you or...
女人啦，我们家的女人就是我啦。
Okay, that's true. Okay, do you have any other questions here?
在这个故事里面呢，我就是想到雅各他要回家了。艾老师，我们每个人离开家的以后一段日子都很想回家，对不对？雅各回家的这条路很长，而且他心里面也有重担哦，他不知道他哥哥会不会原谅他，是不是？那他就走在这个回家的路上，就来到了他当年做梦的那个地方，是不是？那这个情节你告诉我们，为什么他经过那里的时候，他的心里有那么多的想法呢？
Well, I think it's very important because when he was running away, 他是逃命的时候，
逃跑，对。
Okay, he actually, God gave him a promise. And many years later, now he's returning, and God has fulfilled the promise. 一键成全。God has been very good to him. And sometimes I think, Lena, 有时候我们应该回想到上帝怎么样带领我们。
对，应该常常回想上帝和我们之间的那个约。 他
Yeah.
给我们的应许是什么？
Right. And then this will help us be more confident about the future.
哦，
我们对将来可以有信心，
有希望，对。
希望，因为知道他怎么样带领我们
对。
的过去。The dream had become real in Jacob's life. 那个梦，他所做的梦，真的是成真了。It had come true 在他生活中啊。And then I go on to philosophize. You'll have to live with an old man's philosophy, my philosophy. Sorry. But I want to be a little bit more philosophical. 今天是谈到一点哲学。We also need to remember to live the dream. Now, live the dream is a very common way of speaking in the United States. To live the dream. Do you have a hope? Do you have a dream? 你有没有一个梦想 Okay? 或希望 We have a saying, it says, we need to live the dream. That means that you need to live according to the dream that you've had. I'm sure that we all have had a dream, or we have some ideals, 一些理想. Live the dream. Do move forward. When I was young, I wanted to be a teacher. That was my dream. And I became a teacher. I lived the dream. Okay? And I continue and do not worry and not worry about the problems of life. You know, you're always going to face problems. 肯定会面对困难. Don't look at the problems. In fact, I had a friend who once said, he said, don't look down. Look up. Okay? If you look down, you're just looking at your problems. Live the dream. We need to remember that God can take care of us too. At least I have proved this in my life. I believe that God has helped me to live the dream. God can take care of us. 上帝能够关心、照顾、保护我们呢 to take care of us. If we ask, if you ask God, He will take care of you. When I was young, I asked God, I said, God, take care of me. I want to live my dream. And I have lived my dream. Now I'm an old man. But in those days, I was a young man. And God kept His promise. 他上帝的对我来说的这个承诺就成真了。Jacob took time to renew his commitment to God. Here they are in Bethel, in this 上帝的殿, Bethel, the house of God. And so Jacob took time to 更新 his commitment to God. What does it mean? His commitment, his promise, his loyalty, 忠心语 to God. And he did something else, and I think that this is quite interesting, getting rid of all the idols that the family had collected. So apparently, not everybody in the family was like Jacob. And so they had collected 就收集一些偶像。So what does it mean to get rid of? That means to 扔掉 or throw away, okay, these idols. So this is his recommitment. He is saying, God, I want to be 100% loyal to you. Going on. At the same time, the promise to Jacob was renewed also. He would have many descendants and inherit the land. Okay. At this time, he has another dream, and God speaks to him, okay, and the promise is renewed. 这个承诺在更新。He would have many descendants. How would you say that? 这个后代很多。Okay, so he'd have many descendants. Already he has 12 sons, okay? Okay, and he would inherit the land. 他那块地，上帝会给他继承啊。Inherit. The land would become his. How easy it is to forget and to fail to live what we know we should. You know, we all know what is right. Well, I assume most of us know what is right. But sometimes we don't do what is right. 我们不大愿意做这个对的事。It's easy to forget. 我们就忘记，很容易忘记。We also forget how we have been protected. Sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes we have no idea. Sometimes I forget that I have been protected. 被上天保护。And that we have been cared for. 我也是被照顾。And sometimes we take all of this for granted. 我们都认为是理所当然的事。We take it all for granted. We take it for granted. 我们认为都是理所当然的事。Whatever we believe in, we can be sure. 不管我们的信仰是什么，我们所信的是什么呢？ We can be sure that we trust if we trust in the ways of heaven, we will do what is good and right. Let me say that again. I think I got that a little wrong. Whatever we believe in, we can be sure that as we trust in the ways of heaven, we will also do what is good and right. 我们跟从上天的原则， we will do what is right. And we need to remember such positive 积极的梦想。We'll be back in just a moment. Let's take a look at a few of these words. Uncertain future.
Uncertain future 这个字是前途茫茫，
Whoa, that's high-class Chinese.
前路茫茫，对，
Okay.
就是很不安，不知道前面是什么，对吧？
Yeah. Okay, another one is to be convinced.
这个就是很有把握的相信，我们把它翻译成确信，好吧？
Good. That's very, very good. And then the last one we'll look at is to look after.
照顾、看顾，
Okay, if we look after someone, that means we take care of, but it also means that we look after 看顾照顾别人 okay? And the good thing to do is to look after other people. Well, there you have another story from the ancient tales, and for sure they are for today. 古今今谈. Well, we've been looking at lesson number 28. He's remembering a dream that he had had 20 years before. And he's been remembering how the God of heaven has blessed him for 20 years. Well, time keeps moving on, and people keep getting older. So our next lesson is going to be lesson number 29, problems over a pretty coat. I know that you'll want to join us then for another interesting story.
That's all for today, and thanks for watching. If you like Ancient Tales for Today, please visit atft.chinesehope.tv. You may also contact us by writing to ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Again, that's ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Tell your friends about Ancient Tales for Today. See you next time.